Hello there, it's Jackie Bolhuis from Klompen Stampers. Oh my goodness, do I have a lot to share with you today. The true focus is a fun fold that you can use with any stamps and paper and ink, but we're going to make a Christmas card using the Peaceful Cabin suite of products, the Designer Series paper, the stamps, and the dies. I think you are going to absolutely love this paper, these stamps, these dies, but they're a little tricky. They're not hard because remember, I don't do anything hard, but if you have a couple of tips, it's super easy. So that's what we're all about today. So it's the fun fold. I'm also going to show you this Designer Series paper and how gorgeous it is all by itself. I want to show you how you can cut it to make cards by just adding a greeting and bam, bam, bam. It's super easy to make a whole bunch of Christmas cards if that's what you want to do. Plus, I'll show you how you can use this set also to just make some masculine cards. Doesn't have to be Christmas. So I have a lot to share with you. Now, if this is the first time you're tuning in, welcome. I'm so glad you found my channel. Make sure you share it with your crafty friends and subscribe. That way you'll always know when I have a new video coming out. I try to share twice a week. And all of my videos really are about quick and easy card making. That's my passion, and I love to teach you how to make quick and easy cards as well. Now, if you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and you'd like a catalog, hop over to my website. You can click on catalogs, and I'd love to send you one. Now, one more thing, and then we're going to get to work. I have a blog post that goes with this video. It'll show pictures of all the cards I'm going to share with you, give you the cutting dimensions, the supplies, and everything you need if you want to make these cards as well. The link to that will be down in the video description. Trying again to make it as easy as I can for you to get all the information so that you can create these cards. Okay, I think we better get to work or we're going to be here all day. Let's flip the camera down and let's get started. Hang on one second. I want to just start by showing you in the catalog the products we're using. This is the Peaceful Place suite that you're going to find in the July to December mini catalog. And we are focusing on using the stamp set and dies and the Designer Series paper. Now there's obviously more coordinating products that are beautiful and all go together, but I kind of tend to focus on just a few things. You don't need everything in a suite. So that's what we're going to do. We'll make a card using, the paper and that, and then show you lots of tips because these dies are a little bit different than anything we've had in the past. So first, let's take a look at the paper. I think I have it here. This one I've trimmed down just a little bit, but you can see this paper is really designed to cut up and make cards. So we've got that one. This one cuts real easily into 6x6, but then you can cut it smaller as well. And we have our trees and my favorite, the cabins. And then we have some beautiful snowflakes and kind of some winter trees. And then flip it over. And I love these more generic looking patterns and just this really soft gray. This one's pretty. See the wood grain with that silver in it. But most of them are a little bit more, just real soft and subtle. So this is great paper to use for not necessarily Christmas cards or even with this stamp set. It'll be great for accent pieces for all different things. Now, before we put the paper away and really dive into the fun fold that we're going to make, I want to show you how I cut this paper. You can see when I cut it this way, I think this made it, did I cut it right in half? That's probably right in half, 6. So we have pieces. But then I went ahead and I trimmed these down to make, and I only made 3 right now, but you can see how I got 3 out of a 6x12 piece. And all I did here was layered it with some cardstock. I added some of this really pretty ribbon. I can't remember, silver or something or another. It's kind of a mesh ribbon, but it's real super easy to put and tie. And then I just added an embossed greeting on there. Now, kind of played around. I don't know if the camera's picking it up good, but I embossed this one in silver and I embossed that one in white. I'm not real sure which one I like better. Any of them would do. And then on the inside, I just stamped my Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. So look at how simple it was to just use that paper to make Christmas cards. Just start cutting up that paper and use it as the focal point of your card. Now, let's set that away because what we really want to talk about today is the stamp set and the dies. We're going to get started with, I have 3 pieces of basic white here, and I believe these are 4 3/4 by 3 1/2. But remember, these measurements will be over on that blog post, so make sure you go check that out. Now, I said things are a little bit different with this, so we're going to take these pieces and we're going to stamp, use the dies, and then I'll show you how to layer them together to make a beautiful card. So we're going to go ahead and start here with our cabin. And I want to go, kind of down towards the bottom here because we want a little bit of snow and whatnot on the bottom. And then on this other piece, we're going to take our trees, and I want to make sure I stamp these up a little bit higher, and you'll see why here in just a minute. Now we're going to end up with a little bit of scrap. You probably could cut these pieces smaller to start with, but it's just cardstock, and I think sometimes to have a little bit of wiggle room makes it so much easier. Now, let's look at the 2 dies. 2 of many in that set, but you can see how this die will cut out the outline of those trees, but it's going to not cut the bottom. So this is going to still be a piece down here. So we lay that one on there, and the same thing goes with this die. When I lay it on here, it's going to cut across, but leave the bottom. Kind of hard to explain. Let me go cut these and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so you can see here where we cut this out, and now I still have that nice straight edge down along the bottom, and then the same thing with our tree one. We have that nice piece. And this is designed so that you can layer these pieces together and even use some dimensionals, and we will, to pop that up to get lots of dimension in your project, but look at how easy it is. Now, the reason I kind of went up because I want to play with this a little bit. I don't know that I want it all the way down, and all of that snow showing there. So I think we're going to raise it up just a little bit. You can see what I'm doing. And then I'm going to trim off what's extra down here. And that's why I didn't really want an exact measurement, because I think it's easier to cut it and then play around. We could go all the way up here or come down a little bit, but I think I want those trees to look more like they're coming right behind that cabin. So let's grab the paper trimmer, and I'm going to just take this piece and let's trim a little bit off that bottom. So now when we line these up, because I do want to line them up, you can see now how those trees are a little bit closer. I think we're going to take off one more sliver. And there's no perfect spot here. It's just kind of a measure it, or we're not measuring it. Do it until it looks good. So let's line those up. There I go. I like that a little bit better than we had so much distance to begin with. So next, we're going to take a piece of that beautiful paper. You can see there's that real soft, but I'm using kind of the night sky on this one. And I want to show you the piece this came from. The paper was like this. And you can see how it's almost mountains in the background or sky, but we've got these beautiful trees as well that I'll be able to use for something else. And I just cut a piece of it here that is, what do we got? 4 3/4 by 3 1/2, same size that I started out with here. And we're going to start out, I want a lot of dimension in this project. So we're going to use a ton of dimensionals. So hang on. We're going to make sure that each layer gets popped up really good, because I think that's what really shows the beauty of this stamp set. So let's get this one popped up. Okay, that's probably enough for overkill. We're going to have dimensional papers all over the floor by the time we're done here. You guys, does yours go all over the place like mine do? I swear I find them everywhere. Okay, dimensionals are on there, and then I'm going to go ahead. Oh, I'm a little shaky. Too much coffee or not enough. Pop that on there. So you can see how we're just building our scene. So next, we're going to take this one and we're going to pop this one up as well. Now, depending on, if you don't want your card to get too thick, you might not want to put the dimensionals under this one, but I don't know. I don't think it really ends up too thick this way. Now notice I didn't put them way up towards the top because I don't know where it's going to fall and have something to stick to. So line up those bottom again, and there you go. Isn't that pretty? I love, name of this is Peaceful Cabin, and boy, is it peaceful when you start looking at it this way. And then I'm going to layer onto a piece of basic white. So this card really is, it's monochromatic. It's just that basic gray and then some basic white. And I like, you know, kind of the white little image or border around all this. Let's slide that. It's kind of thin. Okay, so there is the focal point. Now we're going to add one more thing on this, and then we'll show you how to make our fun fold with this. So there's 3 other dies. There's tons of dies in this stamp set, but these 3 just cut out, and I did these ahead of time, these tall, skinny trees. And I thought, rather than having everything stamped, sometimes it's nice to just have, you know, more the silhouette images as well, just to give it a little bit of variety. So for this, we need the mini dimensionals. Okay, with the minis, I like to use my Take Your Pick tool, just to pick them up because they are so little. And you got to kind of strategically place these so that the dimensional doesn't show on that back side. And then we're going to go ahead and put one down there. See how we're just building up our layers? You know, some people like to call this like a scene building stamp set. So here, let's just put one on the bottom. That should be good enough. And we're going to start sticking these down a little bit. Let's go just down like so. And then our final one, let's see, we want to make sure it shows. So if you put it on that dark sky, it doesn't show as good. So we want to kind of put it on top of those other trees and it'll pop a little bit more. Okay, let's, one more. How about right there? Okay, isn't that pretty and peaceful? I love the stamp set. I love the tranquility of it. So let's clean up this mess and put this together as a fun fold. So the base of my card is 11 by 4 1/4, and we are going to go ahead and we are going to score this at 5 1/2, okay, which is our normal fold a card in half, but we're also going to score it at 2 3/4, so right there. Make sure you use the scoring blade and not the cutting blade. Done that before. And then we're going to go ahead and fold it. Even when I score, I like to use my bone folder because I like super crisp creases and folds in there. And then this one folds back. So that's all this fun fold is. Now you could use this with something and have it open this way, but what we're going to do is use this layer and we're going to put it on the front like so, so our card will open like that. Super simple. Now, I'm going to make sure I just put this adhesive on that top, because if I put it down too far, it's going to close our card, glue it closed, and we certainly don't want that. Close it up and just kind of eyeball center it on there. So there is most of our card. Now, we do need something on the inside, so I cut a piece that's the same size as these layers so that when it's closed, you don't really see it, and you have this nice border around, but when we open it, we'll have that. So let's go ahead and just stick a greeting on here. And we're going to stick with this one ink pad. Everything is stamped with basic gray. Okay, doesn't get any easier than that. So there are the words. And then we can even put a couple of those little trees down here in the bottom just to add a little bit more to it. And we'll go ahead and put some adhesive. Now make sure, as long as you center this, it should be covered up just fine. I always like to kind of double check. And there we go. There is our fun fold. Very simple. Now we did make this a Christmas card, obviously, but I love that this set would be a great masculine set for any occasion. You know, I did not put words on the front of it. So then on the inside, you can make this happy birthday thinking of you, whatever you need to, or even like a sympathy card. It would be really pretty. I made another one here, basically the same. I just used a different piece of that designer series paper, but I added thank you, which is in these greetings that I use here are all part of the stamp set, and just punched it out with a circle. But then on the inside, your kindness makes the world a better place, or a more beautiful place to be. So again, that could be for anybody, for any reason. So that's the fun fold. Now let me share with you another card I made. So for this one, I wanted to get away from those grays. As much as I love those grays, I thought, well, let's do one with a little bit of color. So you can see here, this cabin is stamped just like the gray one. And there you can see where it was cut out. Okay, so here would be our die. And then this back piece it's not, these trees aren't cut out. I just stamped them with shaded spruce on the base of this one. And I stamped them, I stamped them a couple of times, and then I also stamped another time with that ink stamped off on scrap paper to make it lighter, just to get some dimension going there. But otherwise, I put it together the same way. I only had the one layer to put dimensionals on and put on there. And then I used those 3 trees again. I don't know. I'm in love with those trees with the 2 different, the silhouette as well as the stamped one. And then wishing you the best. And again, made it a Christmas card with greetings that are part of that stamp set. So this one, they're not hard. I would not say at all that this card was hard. It was just a little more putsy because there was quite a few more layers in putting it together, where here I limited it to just that one layer that's popped up. So I will have dimensions, pictures and dimensions of both of these cards for you over in that blog post. So if you'd like to get the stamp set and create these cards, I try to make it as simple as I can for you. So I hope you love this stamp set as much as I do. I think it's just so pretty. And like I said, great for masculine or for anybody. There's a lot of pieces in here. There's a little fox and the fence and more dies that go with it. So there's a lot more things you can do, especially if you really like to build scenes and cut out pieces and place them around to create a scene. So if you have any questions, please reach out to me. Leave me a comment or send me an email. I'm here to help you in any way that I can. So until I stamp with you again, have a stamp happy day.